Good evening. Hey y'all. We're going to call this Teaching Tuesdays, and today's topic is waiting. Okay? So, waiting is super hard. Sometimes I can be very impatient, but in this season I'm learning how to wait. When you go to the doctor's office and you had an appointment for 8:30, it's now 9 o'clock and you still haven't called my name. I'm tired of waiting. Or God promised you some things and it still hasn't happened yet because you want things to happen on your time and not God's time. But we're going to learn how to wait. So waiting, we're talking about Genesis chapter 37 all the way to chapter 45. I know it seems like it's a lot, but it's about Joseph and it's pretty interesting. So let's get into it. Alright, so Joseph's dad's name is Jacob, and Jacob had 12 sons, hence the 12 tribes of Israel, and Joseph was son number 11, and Jacob loved Joseph more than all the rest of his kids, right? So one day, he gave Joseph this coat of many colors, right? And so it was like a rainbow colored, okay? Okay, so dad gives Joseph this coat. Look at this coat real nice, right? Okay, cool. So he gets this coat, and all the brothers is looking like, so why dad didn't give us no coat? Like, they some haters, okay? Sometimes God gives people a special anointing and the people around them are wondering why or how they got that anointing and they start wanting it too, but they praying for your downfall. And you thinking like, oh, they my brother, they my sister, they got my back, when really, they jealous. So the brothers, they go down to feed the flocks and Joseph was left by himself. So Joseph, he got on his fly coat, he's stunting. And so he comes looking for them or whatever, and he can't find them, but trust me, they see him. Sometimes people can see your anointing from far away and will be very intimidated by it. Don't understand why they don't like you, but it's your anointing. The gifts that God has placed on you will make some people very afraid, okay? So with Joseph's anointing and gifts, one of his gifts is dreams. He has dreams and he can interpret dreams. So before the brothers went to go feed these flocks or whatever, Joseph had this dream that these sheaves, which are bundles of wheat, his wheat would stand up straight while the rest of his brothers' bundles of wheat would bow down to him. And the brothers ain't like that, child. Now, here's a lesson for this. Be careful who you tell your dreams to. Okay? Be careful. So like I said, Joseph was going to find them. I told you he couldn't see them, but they saw him and they said, the dreamer is coming. Okay? So he finally gets there and the brothers rip his robe off. And remember, we said his robe was rainbow colored, and I looked up what a rainbow means, and a rainbow represents the covenant that God made and said that he would not drown the earth again, but instead use fire. But another word for covenant is promise. So Joseph was wearing his promise and the brothers had ripped it off of him. Okay, they ripped it. So at this point, child, they done ripped off Joseph Balenciaga coat and they done threw him down in this well because they was gonna try to kill him. But Reuben stepped up and said, "No, you better not kill him. Don't kill him. Don't shed none of his blood." So they just threw him down the well. And do y'all know they threw him down there with no water, no food, and had the nerve to eat sitting beside the well. So you can imagine that Joseph is smelling this food. He hearing them slurping and drinking, child. And I know he's hungry, but this right here begins the waiting process. Joseph, this pit, he's now in the waiting room. Okay? He's in the waiting room. So then, they got him in this well, and one of the brothers is like, well, we're not going to profit anything if we just leave him in here. So, they pull him up out of the well, and they sell him to some traders riding by, because, some people will use your downfall as a stepping stone, or what they think. So they sell him for about, 20 shekels, okay? It's not really that much, but they sell him for 20 shekels, okay? And now Joseph has been sold into slavery and is brought down to Egypt, okay? So then he is serving this master, okay, and everything that Joseph is doing is blessed, okay, blessed. So blessed that the master decides to make him basically like head of the house, head of everything that is in the master's house. I had to take that coat off. It was getting hot. But so Joseph is working while in this waiting room. He's in this waiting room period while he's under this master. But isn't it just like the enemy to attack you while you're in the waiting room? So if you're feeling attacked while you're in this period of waiting, it's normal. Okay? It's normal. So the master's wife found Joseph to be real fine. The Bible even does say that Joseph was real good looking. So the master's wife is looking at him like, So the master's wife is trying to convince Joseph to lay down with him, and Joseph would not do it. He wouldn't do it. Okay, he wouldn't do it. So he ended up leaving a piece of his clothing in her hand. See, look, you got to be more careful. You got to be very careful. Don't leave stuff around people you can't trust. Okay? Do y'all know this heifer ran outside with that piece of clothing talking about, look what he did to me. Look what he did to me. Child, the master is heated. The master thinking like, oh, you gonna sleep with my wife? So he throws Joseph in prison. And I'm looking at that heifer like, really, heifer? Really? Really? You really gonna set that man up like that? Because he ain't want to lay with you. He being a faithful man of God. You gonna set him up like that? Joseph is now in prison. This is like waiting room number 3. We had the pit, we had the master's house, and now we in prison. Okay? It's like you waiting on the doctor, then they finally call your name, but really it was just signed paperwork. Then you get caught up again, you go to the back, and then the nurse comes see you, and you still gotta wait some more, and then the doctor finally comes see you. So we in waiting room number 3. So Joseph did not forget that he had to work while he waits. Now, I told y'all Joseph be working. So he working in the prison, and the captain of the prisoner sees Joseph working hard and sees the favor of God on Joseph's life and decides to make Joseph the head of all the rest of these prisoners, right? So while he's in prison, 2 of the Pharaoh's folks get put into prison. So the Pharaoh's butler and the Pharaoh's chef gets put into prison. And while they're in there, they have these dreams. And I remember I told y'all Joseph had the interpretation of dreams thing down, okay? So they tell him these dreams, and mind you, Joseph probably could have lied and been like, oh yeah, your dream was good, okay, your dream was good, but he just told the truth. So he was truly working for God. So the butler tells Joseph his dream, and his dream basically means that when he goes back to Pharaoh, Pharaoh's going to give him his job back. Then the baker, the baker tells Joseph his dream, and basically his dream represents that he's going to be hung, okay? So, and Joseph tells the truth. He's like, I'm not going to lie to you. You're going to get hung when you get out of here. And he made sure he told the butler, like, hey, don't forget about me. When you go see Pharaoh, don't forget about me. So the butler and the baker get up out of jail, and everything that Joseph said was going to happen, it happened. The butler got his job back, and, the baker gone. So then Pharaoh has a dream, okay? Now, mind you, before that, I remember Joseph said, don't forget about me. And what did that butler do? Forgot. He forgot. He just right up forgot. And, sometimes when I'm in this waiting room, this is the period I'm in, by the way, I'm like, God, did you forget about me? Did you forget about the promises that you told me, God? Like, am I hearing you, Lord? Am my prayers reaching you, God? Like, what's up? Did you forget? So Pharaoh has this dream, and he cannot figure out what it is. So bad, these dreams torment him. Child, he probably sweat. He sweat, okay? Tired, he don't know what's going on. Spirit all trouble, okay? But then he talks to the butler, and now the butler want to remember who Joseph is. Now you want to remember. But he tells him, he's like, hey, this Hebrew man that was in prison, I had a dream, and he was able to interpret it, and everything that he said came to pass. So Pharaoh's like, all right, bro, go get him. It's just kind of like Daniel and Nebuchadnezzar. Go read Daniel, okay? So Pharaoh gets my homie out of jail or whatever, and Joseph listens to the dream, and he tells him what the dream means. And the dream is that these 7 years are going to be very plentiful, and the harvest is going to be great. And then the next 7 years that's coming is going to be a famine. Everybody's going to be hungry. Everybody's going to be thirsty. So at this point, Pharaoh realizes that Joseph truly is a man of God. And let me tell you something. Joseph was working in this waiting room, okay? So while you're in this waiting room, when it's time to come up out of here, God is going to exalt you in front of all your enemies, okay? All of them. Those people that put you in jail, he gonna put you up there. So Pharaoh realizes that Joseph is a man of God, indeed, and decides to make him the governor of Egypt, okay? The governor. Child, Joseph is the governor. He went from being thrown in a pit into somebody's house, into a prison, to being the governor. And there's one part that touched me. So it says that when the Pharaoh made him the governor, he used a signet ring. See, when the signet ring is used, that means that is a seal that cannot be broken. When God said something over your life, it is sealed. It can't be broken. See, remember he had on that coat that represented his promise? Yeah, they thought that they were ripping his promise, but baby, that was only on the outside. God placed the promise on the inside of you, okay? Listen, we ain't done. So now we in the famine. Famine's happening, and Joseph's family is hungry, child. So the father was like, "Y'all need to go get some grain from Egypt." Remember, the dream that he had was about those sheaves, those bundles of grain. So they had to go to Joseph to go get this grain. But they don't know it's Joseph, because they threw him in that pit when he was 17. Now he about 30 something. They don't know what he looked like, child. He could look like totally different, child. They probably thought he was dead. So they had to go and get this stuff from Joseph. Mind you, they don't know that it's Joseph, which is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. But when God rips the veil off these folks' eyes, listen. So during all of this, the brothers had tried to lie, talking about, we don't know what happened to Joseph. What is this deceitful thing that you're trying to say that we did? We didn't do anything, blah, 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 blah. And then Joseph then got fed up. He fed up at this point. And you know what he said? I am Joseph. And they was looking in pure shock. They couldn't even talk. They couldn't even talk. When God brings you out of that waiting period, people gonna look at you in utter disbelief. They not even gonna understand how you came from so low and now you up here, child. You up here, but don't get cocky. But you up here. You gotta work while you wait. Because when the waiting period is over, man, oh man. As Teaching Tuesday comes to an end, work while you wait. It might seem like God forgot about you, but let me tell you, he did not forget. Remember, that butler did not forget. He had to remember at the right time. God does everything in his timing. And because it might seem like they tried to rip the promise off of you, when God said it, it is sealed. The promise ain't on your outside clothing. The promise is inside of you. So you're going to work while you wait. And hopefully this video has helped you to get through the waiting room period, because the doctor is getting ready to step in, child.